This is Rob Tebbutt for Boxing Social in association with Betfred. Delighted, as always, to be joined by WBC President Mr. Mauricio Sulaiman. Mauricio, I feel a bit seasick because you're in the car today, so we're a little bit jittery. How are you?
Fine, fine. Sorry for the much movement going on, but it's a new reality, and I'm very happy to be in your show again, once again. And I apologize for the much movement from the car.
That's okay, no problem. And as always, it's a real pleasure to have you on. Look forward to our catch-ups. So, where are you? What are you doing?
I'm in Mexico City. Yesterday, I was in Tijuana. I went to that city to present the silver belt to Jose Cepeda, who had an unbelievable fight. I don't know if you watched it,
Oh, of
but
course.
the multiple knockdowns by both fighters, it was very exciting. And I was just very, very pleased to meet Cepeda, to present him the belt officially, and just so many things going on in the boxing world, which is very gratifying to all of us.
Mauricio, if I just ask you to move your screen down a little bit, you start to disappear out of shot. Can you move it down? There we go. He's back. There we go. You mentioned Jose Cepeda, Ivan Baranchyk. Of course, I watched it. Brilliant fight. The last time me and you spoke, we spoke about the great fights of years gone by with two Mexicans. Obviously, this didn't have two Mexicans, but we spoke about Barrera versus Morales. I know they're not Mexican, but we spoke about Gatti Ward and other fights like that. Where did Cepeda Baranchyk land for you with regards to great fights? It was all action.
It has to be a classic, instant classic, which will be remembered for generations. This fight will be shown throughout the years when you want to exemplify drama and competitiveness and high levels of simply big heart by both fighters. Just as we watch Foreman against Lyle going up and down, this is going to be seen and watched by many, many millions of people around the year forever and throughout the years.
Absolutely, and great for boxing. Right, before we come on and talk about some of the news that's flying around the boxing scene at the minute with regards to the WBC, as I understand it, I spoke to you earlier on today, you met with the Board of Governors today, that you had a meeting. Anything that I should know about? You got any news you'd like to tell me, Mauricio?
Well, we're conducting every 15 days Board of Governor meetings so we can continue this great opportunity of the video conferences. We usually, before the pandemic, we would communicate by letters and then phone calls, and then we would meet in the conventions. But now this is great, so we can be much more proactive and fast in every single matter that is going on. Yes, we have voted in favor of the creation of the new weight category. Specific details will be sent to begin in November. But the weight category is finalized, it's accepted, and we will move forward with that plan. We reviewed the weight categories. As I was telling you, we have 2 world title bouts in Mexico City presented by Matchroom and Sanfer next Friday, the 23rd. And there's a couple of tests that are pending that everyone is hoping they are false positives, but there were some preliminary lab work came with 2 positive for 2 of the title fights. They just went this morning to have a complementary tests, and we will know by tonight what is the status. If there is a need to change challengers, the WBC board, of course, approved the discretion to do and to have the flexibility to support the promotion. We talked about tomorrow, Lomachenko against Teofimo Lopez. Very exciting. we discussed your favorite topic, which is the franchise designation, and and the conversations that we have had with Top Rank this week, because this fight is a perfect fitting of the real meaning, the real purpose of the franchise designation. Having this in place was the reason for which Lomachenko and Lopez can take that fight. Uh, it was planned this way when they petitioned for the franchise designation, and now with Lopez and Top Rank requesting that the winner is absolutely recognized, then it gives a different meaning to the franchise designation. Now, if Lopez beats Lomachenko, he's going to be the franchise designation of that division. So it is a great unification bout. There's great interest on what's going to happen in the ring. And we're very proud that this process helped the fans get to see Lomachenko Lopez, which in my opinion is going to be one of the best fights in many years.
It's certainly looking that way, and I, as you, am very, very excited to see Lomachenko versus Lopez tomorrow night from Las Vegas. I was going to come on to our much beloved topic of the franchise title later on in the interview, but because you've just mentioned it, let's talk about it quickly there. Obviously, the last time we spoke, we found out that Teofimo Lopez had petitioned for, franchise championship rights, as it were, after or as and when he beats Lomachenko, if and when he beats Lomachenko, should I say. Does Lomachenko, again, as we understand, this is kind of a developing new designation. Would Lomachenko then lose the right as a franchise champion? I know that we'd spoken previously and from the start about the franchise title not being able to be lost in the ring. If Teofimo Lopez wins, he would become franchise champion. Lomachenko would no longer have a franchise designation. Is that right?
Yeah, that is correct. This is what we have been discussing. It's a new concept, and with every new concept, every new rule, there's adjustments. It is gratifying to see the franchise champion fighting in the same weight category. As you know, one of the features of this matter is to allow the fighter to move up and down in weight and to take on the fights that are the ones that are needed to see to develop the industry. This time it's in lightweight, so it makes perfect sense. And it was voted by the WBC to accept such modification. So in fact, the winner will be recognized as the franchise designation. Whoever wins, that will be the sole champion in that division. And Canelo Alvarez is in the super middleweight division.
So as we've mentioned, it's a evolving concept, so to speak. Would that now be the rule in place for the other franchise champion in Canelo Alvarez if he were to lose a fight, or would it have to be on a fight by fight basis? Would you still have to petition before the fight to win the franchise title, so to speak?
It's a fight by fight basis because depends on the weight category. So if Canelo fights in another division other than middleweight, where he was the champion when he was appointed franchise, then it would be a different if he's in light heavyweight or super middleweight or super welterweight.
Before we move on and talk about Canelo Alvarez, let's just backtrack a little bit. You mentioned about the tests and the COVID tests for the show next week, the Matchroom show next week. That's the first I've heard of it. Are you at liberty to tell me who was involved in those tests?
Yes, Carlos Cuadras, the former champion and challenger for Estrada, and the challenger for Martinez. Both of them tested positive. In the case of Martinez, opponent, it has been confirmed because all his team tested positive. In Cuadras' case, only him came out positive, but with one parameter that was questionable, and all his team came out negative. That's why Cuadras went this morning to the lab to have a new testing in a different upgrade scenario, and hopefully he will be okay and clear to fight next Friday.
If he's not, we could do Julio Cesar Martinez versus Juan Francisco Estrada.
That's a great idea. You should be a promoter.
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe not a promoter. I don't think so. I'm happy. I'm happy doing my job. Thank you very much. You just mentioned as well, part of that is the new weight class, something that me and you have discussed repeatedly. Just to confirm that, that's a 224-pound limit. Is that correct for the division in between cruiserweight and heavyweight? And as I understand it, the jump between light heavyweight and cruiserweight is also being addressed?
Yes, 224 in order to make it 16 stone. That was something that we decided to do to do like a homage to the British weight structure. 16 stone is exactly the equivalent to 224 pounds. And 190 pounds will be the cruiserweight limit, which that was the original weight years ago. Then it was changed to 200 because of this same situation of the size of the heavyweights continuously evolving. So 190 light heavyweight, 175 cruiserweight, 190, and the new division, which we have a surprise name, 224.
Maybe you can tell me after the interview. I promise I won't tell anybody. Just continue around that with the creation of the new weight classes and the adjustment of the limits. I'm assuming, or rather I'm hoping that this is going to be universal across the board. The WBA are also on board, the WBO, IBF, is that correct?
We don't know. We have invited the organizations. We have explained to them that we are going to implement a new weight category, and that will be up to them. You know, we're going to have a 1-year grace period for the fighters who are currently ranked in the current structure. So they're going to have the flexibility to look into selecting which weight category they want to compete in and to be ranked. So there's going to be a few adjustments until we settle in this new concept. But the reality is the heavyweight division is the greatest championship, and that will begin on 224, but it's not limited. So it's going to be self-explained. There will be adjustments, but the idea is to give opportunities and be aware of those fighters who are big light heavyweights, who are small cruiserweights, and who are small heavyweights. Right now, there's a big gap of talent that could be very much materialized.
Just trying to kind of think ahead and see what this could potentially look like moving forward for the sport. If for whatever reason the WBO, the WBA, the IBF, any one of them, two of them, or all of them decide no, we're happy with how we are, we want to keep cruiserweight at 200, we don't want another weight class, is that only going to serve to cause more division in the sport? I mean, from a lot of fans aren't massively in favor of a new weight class. I have to say, I'll be on record, I am quite happy with the creation of a new weight class, but a lot of people aren't. Now, if the WBA, the IBF, and the WBO don't come on board, is that not just going to make more division in the sport?
I don't see why it could create division. This is just a matter of constantly evolving. We have always looked into looking for different ways of attending matters. It is a fact that there's a tremendous difference between a fighter who is in the 270, 260, 250 pounds against a fighter who's 200, 210. You can be competitive and you can win, just like Povetkin did, but it's a matter of understanding that there's a large population of fighters who are in that small heavyweight range, big cruiserweight range, that could benefit from having the opportunity of competing in a weight category. So this is something that we have discussed for many years. It's not something new. We brought data from many years. We have worked. We did not proceed. I think the last attempt was 3 years ago, but at this time it was more convincing, understanding that there's a need, because this is also addressing the light heavyweights, because the jump from 175 all the way to 200, it's a 25 pound gap, which is hurting the possibilities of some fighters to go and be competitive and not give too much advantage.
Moving on, we've mentioned his name already here, Canelo Alvarez. We're still waiting to hear what the latest is with his return to the ring. Obviously, he's got his court case with DAZN and Golden Boy Promotions. What's the latest with regards to Canelo Alvarez? I understand his purse bid with Avni Yildirim for the vacant WBC super middleweight title has been pushed back.
Yes, if you hear something, let me know, please. Like, it's a complicated issue. Anytime you go to court, things get out of perspective, get out of the possibility of handling several aspects. We are going to have a certain definition by next week regarding Canelo Alvarez and this situation.
Regardless of what happens with Canelo Alvarez, will Avni Yildirim be contesting the vacant title?
Yes, Avni Yildirim is in fact the mandatory contender. He's the one that has the rights, as it has been consistent in the last two conventions, the way they have been reviewed and approved. And we will see, hopefully by next week, we're going to have a final definition.
Mauricio, you're just escaping from the shot again. If you could just bring it down for me. There we go.
Sorry.
I like to see all of you. I like to see all of you. There we go.
I have to blame my driver. He doesn't know how to drive, so we're jumping all up and down.
I hear those limousines in Mexico are very smooth, Mauricio. Don't worry. Moving on to the heavyweight division. Now, it seems like nothing is ever certain in boxing. Nothing is ever settled in boxing, but particularly in the lightweight division and the heavyweight division at the minute. Now, I know you were as surprised as everybody to hear the news or the reported news about Tyson Fury. What's your understanding of the trilogy bout of Deontay Wilder?
Our understanding, our official understanding, is that the fight is scheduled for December. This week, many sources started coming out with different information, different news. So I sent a letter to both camps because we do not have any official confirmation of anything differently than December 19th for their fight. So I have reached out to Top Rank MTK, Tyson Fury, and to Bomb Squad, TGB, Deontay Wilder. And we're waiting to get a response from both sides and understand exactly what is the situation in the heavyweight division.
But just to clarify that, you've not been made aware of any potential fight from Tyson Fury on December the 5th. You've had no contact from anybody at MTK or Top Rank suggesting that that's a possibility, only what you've seen in the media.
That's correct. Yeah, there's no petition, there's nothing officially slating the withdrawal of the fight against Wilder, or petition for a voluntary title defense against another opponent. So we sent the letters out to the promoters, and we are in the process of gathering their information.
That's kind of where I was going with it next. I mean, we obviously speak very regularly. We've discussed Tyson Fury or the WBC mandatory situation post Povetkin White. does that, if that fight were to happen, if Tyson Fury were to take a December the 5th bout, that would be his voluntary defense, and then next year would his mandatory be called? What would be the situation with that?
Well, at this moment, there is no mandatory challenger. Um, as we have discussed previously, we had the Wilder fight to take place, and then whatever was to happen, that would come next. And we have discussed about the Dylan White, when if he had beaten Povetkin, he would have been immediately next to fight the winner of Wilder Fury. So at this moment, the only thing that has changed is in fact, the Fury Wilder scenario, that we are waiting to get confirmation of the date, or if there has been a change, then we have to go through the board of governors and fill them in and have them determine the next steps in that division.
Was WBC setting any sort of time limit, any deadline on this?
Not at this moment. As I say, this is very fresh, very new. Officially, we are on the understanding of December 19 Trilogy, third fight. Anything differently, it's only informal communications. So as soon as we have a complete grasp of the situation, then we can rule on anything. We cannot do that through the media information that is out there. We have to do officially from what is communicated directly by the promoters.
Just moving on, Mauricio, before I let you go, we've mentioned Dillian Whyte versus Alexander Povetkin, the rematch. I spoke to Eddie Hearn yesterday. I relayed the information that I'd got from yourself with regards to sanctioning the interim title for that. Just give me any update if there's been any movement in the last 24 hours with regards to an application or a petition for the interim title for that rematch.
As far as I know, we have not received anything. As I said, I was traveling yesterday. I don't know if something came in. I am not aware of any petition regarding that specific fight. We had our Board of Governors meeting this morning, and we requested the British Boxing Board of Control to confirm what is the status of Dillian Whyte, because he was suspended after the knockout, and he was required to undergo specific tests. I believe the suspension has finished and that he is going through the tests. The board confirmed that they will inform the WBC what is the exact status of Dillian Whyte with regards to the British Boxing Board of Control.
It's a bit of a mouthful.
I love
yeah, well, I spoke to Eddie yesterday, and I kind of relayed the conversation that I'd had with you to him, and said that, you know, usually under normal circumstances, the WBC would receive an application before a fight is announced. Eddie again kind of reiterated his stance that this was fairly normal, that he wasn't concerned that things had been done improperly. Just your comments on that, really.
I don't know. I have no real comment. We do flexible administration, and the normal practice is to get a fight authorized before announcing it, and that's consistent, and that's worldwide normal practice. But I don't want to get into I say, he say. It's not something. By the way, I hope that Eddie is doing well in full recovery after his COVID-19 testing. We have a couple of Board of Governor members currently recovering. One is Malte Müller from Germany, and the other one is Mr. Sabayalov from the Ukraine. I'm a little bit concerned about him because of his age, but he has been 10 days in the hospital, but he's progressing very well. And when I learned about Eddie having the COVID-19, of course, we were concerned and hopeful that he would, and also his father, correct?
Yes.
Barry. So our prayers have been with them, hoping that they fully recover from this situation that has haunted the whole world for this year.
That's very well said, and I'd just like to echo that on behalf of Boxing Social to the WBC Board of Governor members who are convalescing and recovering from COVID-19. We wish them all the best, as we do for you, Mauricio. Always a pleasure catching up with you. Appreciate that the news in the last week came as just as big a surprise to you as it did to everybody else. But I look forward to hearing more developments and catching up with you soon. Always a pleasure, Mauricio Sulaiman. Thanks very much for speaking to Boxing Social.
Thank you, Rob. Have a great weekend, and I look forward for our next conversation.
Enjoy the fight tomorrow.
Absolutely. Take care.
Take care.